welcome back to the channel and a preview of the racing out in Saudi Arabia over the next couple of days, finishing off with the Saudi Cup. Now this race is going to be a very good one. We've got high class horses everywhere, and Mishrif is the favourite to win this race again, and he's got some very good horses to take on this time on. We'll get onto that in a minute, but there's a lot of English horses of interest, including Pile Driver, who's in the first race, for connections who aren't known for the big names, but Pile Driver looks to have a very good chance at 11-4 in the market. We've also got horses like Solid Stone, Pogo, Happy Power, Happy Romance as well for Richard Hannon, and some from Ireland, including Sonny Boy Liston, who you'll all remember won the Ebor Handicap very impressively. He's going for the Stein races, the Red Sea Cup over the 1 mile 7 furlong trip. That'll be a very interesting race, and he'll take on Siskany for the Charlie Appleby team, who is without William Buick, I should say. He's tested positive for COVID, so he had 4 very good rides and he's going to be missing all of them, which is a big blow to him and the horse's chances, in fact, because Williams had a great time over there at the minute and is definitely one to follow when teaming up with Charlie Appleby. He also misses the ride on Naval Crown, who was favourite for the Group 3 turf sprint. That horse still looks to have a very good chance, and I think James Doyle will be taking most of the rides. Now he's had I think he rattled off a hat-trick today over in Meydan, so he's a jockey very much in form, and I don't think it'll reduce the horse's chances of winning so much. But on to the first race, and it's a race where I'm going to have a selection, and it's going to be Ibarra at 11-1 for Christophe Suleiman and Francis Henry Graffard. Now this horse is a mare and she's on the up. She's had some very good form, and I think this trip of 1 mile 2 furlongs will definitely suit. She does stay further, this horse, but a strong pace over this trip definitely seems to suit, and she's got some good form, beating Rabihar twice, who's a very good horse back in France for Jean-Claude Rouget. So that's some very good form over the 1.25 mile distance, and she comes into this fresh, which definitely isn't a bad thing. She's performed very creditably off a break before, and her latest start was in the Hong Kong Vase Oval in Hong Kong, where she was 2 lengths behind Pile Driver and might not have been best positioned throughout, and I think dropping back in trip a little bit today might just suit this horse, and I think she could be capable of reversing the form with Pile Driver. I think she's open to a little bit more improvement and has a slightly better stall than Pile Driver this day. It is a very strong race for a Group 3, and it's Authority, which is the favourite, who got very close to Contrail over in Japan, so that's very good form and definitely does set the standard. But it is very hard to weigh up the form, and with 4 places on offer, I think 11-1 for the Magic Man, Christophe Suleiman, I think that's a decent bit of value. On to the next race, which is the Turf Cup Sprint, and it is all about Naval Crown. I think this horse is and has acclimatised to Meydan very well, so it'll obviously go well here. It won on Meydan on its last start in a Group 2, and I think although this is a Group 3, it definitely is a step up in class in form of the actual race itself. Rohan also goes over. Now this horse has been a little bit disappointing in its last couple of runs since winning the Wokingham at Ascot, and I think he would have to bounce back, but does have Ryan Moore booked. He's very good on the international stage, so he could be an each-way player, but for me this race is all about Naval Crown. It's a slight drop back in trip from his latest win out in Meydan, but I don't think that'll do this horse any harm. Now onto the big race itself. It's going to be some race, and we've got horses from all over the world, Japan, America, English horses, and I think Mishrif is the place to start. Now this horse won the race last year, beating some very good horses, and he also won at Meydan. He won the Shima Classic there, and then also won the Saudi Cup, so he's done it over 1 mile 1 and 1.5 miles, so that shows that he's got stamina all day long, and I think on the dirt he has proven he stays on the dirt as well, which would be a concern for some of the other horses who might not be suited by this surface. Well, Mishrif definitely is suited by this, and he's drawn out in stall 14, which usually would be a negative, but the US horses and some of the horses on the inside have such good gate speed that you don't want to get caught behind horses if Mishref isn't the quickest away. The English horses don't seem to be that dependent on gate speed. So I think if this horse even half missed the break, David Egan could keep him wide enough early on and get the position that he wants to, because he's got a very high cruising speed, so he could definitely be sat where he wanted to in general. Now the second favourite comes over from the US in the shape of Mandaloon, who won the Kentucky Derby, that infamous race, for all the wrong reasons. But this horse is a very good one for Brad Cox, and I think is one that also loves the dirt, and this trip of 1 mile, 1 furlong is one that'll definitely suit. He's drawn well in stall 6, and it seems to be the one that's going to break quickly and sit prominently enough, because I think he'll stay this trip all day, as shown when winning the Kentucky Derby. That was a 19-runner race over further, and that's always a ridiculously strong pace, and he coped well that day. And also the big field is something that'll be well suited to. Other horses that come over from America include Art Collector. Now this horse is also a very good horse in his own right. He's also won a Grade 1 on his penultimate start in the Woodward Stakes, beat Maxfield that day for Brendan Walsh and Jose Ortiz. Now that's a very good horse in his own right and has won since. Art Collector does catch the eye, although he probably disappointed somewhat in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but he does have to bounce back from that. But he's definitely a good horse on his day, and with Louis Saez taking the guide, he's one to know as well. Other horses over from America include Midnight Bourbon, who chased Mandaloon quite close on his recent start, and there's a big difference in price with them horses. Midnight Bourbon 8-1 with Mandaloon 7-2, but I think even though the margin was close enough that day, I think Mandaloon is a horse that will be on the up and probably will be beating Midnight Bourbon. Of the English horses to mention, I'd never thought there'd be a race strong enough where Real World would be 10-1. He's been very impressive and done the up for Side Bin Saror, won over in Paris Longchamp, and then won on his latest start out in Maidan. He won the Group 2 by about 3 lengths that day under Danny Tudhope. That was a very nice ride from Danny, but it's Frankie Dettori who takes the ride from stall 4, and I think, trained by Side Bin Saror, he knows how to get the horses right for the big meetings out in the Middle East, and I think he's definitely one to know. But as terms of selections come for this race, it's going to be a race that I'm just going to sit back and enjoy. But one I would know is March Lorraine, trained in Japan. Now this horse won the Breeders' Cup Distaff under Roisin Murphy, and they've got Christoph Suleiman on board today, who's a very good jockey, probably the best in the world. And I think this at 16-1 might just be a little bit overpriced. I might play, I might not, and I'll probably just leave it and enjoy the race, but he's definitely one to know. But in general, it's a very good meeting out in Saudi Arabia, and my only tip comes in the first race, and it's a buyer at 11-1. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.